Welcome to the Midnight Shift. Today's episode, the debut. Please welcome your hosts John Hill, Pete Moon, and Fianna Shepherd.
Welcome everyone to the debut episode of The Midnight Shift. I'm your host, John, host of Cup of Joe and other various projects. And I'm here with...
the bitch with all the money, Fianna Shepherd.
And...
Pete Moon, host of Choice Cuts with Pete Moon, where I butcher the classics.
Wonderful. And this is our flagship program here on the Paradigm Network, The Midnight Shift. We are shifting paradigms. We are.
I don't think we're going to be shifting any paradigms.
And we're networking midnights.
Except within our group of friends.
We are midnight networking.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's called picking up hookers.
I'm sex positive, so that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, fair enough. I don't think that's something we should do on the podcast. That's going to change our viewers.
So stick around for the Halloween episode. So why does this show exist? Why does this network exist?
Because we can't shut up.
Exactly. And also because we are Canadian. And I think that in the world of podcasting, the golden age of podcasting that we're in, Canadians are severely underrepresented. And our opinion matters.
Damn it.
Our opinion matters. And
you should have said, Pete, strong language. I'm gonna be like, okay, dang it.
Nice.
HE double hockey stick.
No, yeah, but I think that there's so much great podcasting content out there in the world. The fact that virtually none of it is Canadian is quite interesting.
And worrisome.
And a little worrisome because I think those Americans need to be, put in their place.
Yeah, exactly. And so, without further ado, your friends from north of the border are saying, fuck you, it's our time to shine.
Yeah. I was looking up sketch comedy the other day, and I didn't actually watch the video, but I actually saw this video where Canada declared itself in the running for the race for the presidency of the United States of America.
The whole country?
The whole country. Yeah. That would be quite interesting. I think we do a pretty good job. Yeah. Probably better than most of the people running now.
Definitely.
I've never seen an election that's like this much of a shit show. Mm-hmm. Just people throwing their feces at each other.
Not since the 60s, but...
I wasn't alive in the 60s.
Even. Here's the thing about this is that, media is fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
There are so many problems with the way we cover, or even just the way Americans cover politics.
Yeah.
It's
because right now we live at the perfect apex of mainstream coverage overlapping with grassroots coverage. So you have all the people who are involved in various movements like Black Lives Matter and the Tea Party or whatever remains of them, and you have the mainstream media. And really, at the end of the day, I can't tell really who's who. I can't tell the voices of, radical groups on one end of the spectrum versus the mainstream. Except for, you can tell whether or not they're mainstream, whether or not they address Bernie Sanders, who seems to be the telltale sign of, Democrat corruption within. He is the person who is... far and above the most popular Democrat currently running, and just somehow gets screwed over at the polls, which seems very suspicious. A lot of people in the New York primary, which just came to pass, were saying that their votes were changed to Hillary. Yeah, it was quite interesting. So the Democratic Party are trying to wrangle up enough support to beat Trump because they fear him ultimately, but they're not willing to put their horse, attach their horse to Bernie's cart.
Which is a shame because it's a damn nice cart in all retrospect.
If you look at the kind of people that or the kind of candidates that people are starting to gravitate towards, people like Trump, people like Bernie Sanders, I suppose my point was going to be generally about Trump and how his appeal comes from the fact that he's not someone working from inside the centers of power. He's someone who is
the Republican
outsider.
Party. The Republican Party very much is spiteful of Mr. Trump.
Very much
that
so.
the fact that he's running under their banner, but he's also completely ignoring the idea that Republicans for a while have really been trying to play bipartisan just as hard as Barack Obama has, and they're trying to
Not really.
No, but they're trying to appear less radical.
Exactly.
But they can be more radical. Like Ted Cruz is obviously not a very good person.
No. Zodiac.
But
Allegedly.
But
So we have to say.
But you still have them like resenting Trump for being just saying what a lot of really uneducated people who happen to vote for Republican delegates anyway want to say.
I saw a thing about him earlier about how he's sort of speaking to the violence within people and talking about how he speaks to sort of the darker nature of people and how he makes a point about how are we going to defeat people like ISIS if we're too afraid to stand up for just something or
So basically,
how are we supposed to beat ISIS when we're too busy trying to be all politically correct and shit?
So
Yeah.
Trump is the primal vote.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
He wants America to be tough again. He thinks America isn't as tough as it used to be, and part of being tough is being violent, and that's why he speaks to those kind of people.
Yeah, so if you're a person who associates problem solving with, aggression, then you're Trump's guy.
Yes. Trump is a person who has a hammer and sees every problem as a nail.
Trump wants to pry out all the nails that he sees are not necessary to the framework that they are holding together.
And whether or not the issue is as simple as being pried open, like the issue of Muslim immigration and Mexican immigration to the
Shouldn't
United
be a
States.
fucking issue, but
Right, but he sees all of it as the same nail, but it's not.
yeah.
So that's been our segment, Canadian Voices on American Politics. It's a very common segment because Canadian politics, not all that interesting. 420 just happened, and they announced at the United Nations that they want to start moving towards making pot legal in Canada.
By 2017, I believe this is.
Correct.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
hey, that'll be a fun podcast to put out.
So hopefully by 2018 we'll be out of debt, and we would have all been a little bit more chill about things.
How can we get out of debt when everybody's got couch lock? That's my issue.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Marijuana is a gateway drug that leads to engineering.
That's actually surprisingly accurate.
Surprisingly accurate.
Because I know a whole bunch of engineers, and at least about 80% of them smoke.
Yep.
So,
Same with programmers.
computer
That's what we're gonna
engineering,
be.
like any kind of branch of engineering. I know a couple guys who are in metallurgy too. And
The thing, one of my favorite articles I ever saw was about the CIA or some fucking intelligence agency who's having to change their drug policy because all of the techies are potheads.
Yeah, and it's one thing to be like a field agent or be part of the DEA or part of like
like an FBI agent. Or
be on the
Secret Service.
side
Yeah.
essentially of action, but when your computers are being run by the people who are doing the substances that you're against, it's a real cognitive dissonance out there. I mean, I'm sure weed had something to do with Apple's formation. I've seen apple bongs. Do you think Steve Jobs ever had an apple bong?
Anyway, if he had the cancer, I mean, he probably was
Self-medicating,
yeah. But if you look through the history of like any tech startup or any tech company there is, you'll find some kind of drug use. Excellent point of this. John McAfee got his ideas about computers when he was working for like a railway company, just doing punch cards. But he would go to work on like acid or DMT or whatever. This is back when it was punch cards, guys. Like,
not the most exciting computing era.
yeah, exactly. So I guess there were these people who were doing drugs and thinking that computer could be more.
Yeah, totally. I think it's quite interesting that pot will become legal probably within my lifetime. Well, again, it was at one point. It was like in like the decriminalized zone.
Oh, yeah.
But full legalization in my lifetime seems like an interesting prospect. Fianna, can you shoo the cat down those stairs? Thank you. Yeah.
We're good.
Next on the list of sort of segments, we've talked a lot about news. Why doesn't everyone talk about what they've been experiencing lately?
All right. So, how do you guys feel about anthropomorphic animals?
I really want to make a pun with ambivalent and another animal. Ambivalent?
Ambivalent?
Ambivalent!
And it ties into the Canadian thing. If we're talking about things that we recently experienced, I went and saw Zootopia, which is one of the newest Disney products, blah, blah, blah.
One of those unwritten punchlines.
Yeah. Zootopia is a really, really good film.
I have no doubt that
It's Pixar. I mean,
and they always write good stuff, good lessons.
They can't do wrong.
Animation's
Except
good.
planes.
Comedy is wonderful. It's got enough.
Hey guys, what animals had feelings? Which, you know,
They do have
Well,
feelings.
we're talking about pot use. Let's be completely honest. Disney's writing studio has to be something going on.
What if
like-
toys had feelings, man?
maybe.
It's,
yeah.
I suspect that there's at least a couple guys stoking there. But Zootopia is a really, really good film because it touches on... It ties into the idea of like the Black Lives Matter things that are going on. There's a lot of... I don't want to call them riots. There's a lot of issues that people are standing up for right now and standing in for in terms of racial barriers in society. And these are the stuff that's not spoken about. Like, we've already started, and I'm not saying we're definitely not done, but we've started on working about, like, the wage gap and shit like that, but there's still issues. Zootopia deals with the issue of predator, and I'm using air quotes here, predator animals in this anthropomorphic society going savage, and it's like starts to paint a picture where everybody's like, oh, we don't know who could be next. And so like there's an
It's like
actual
paranoia.
scene, there's an actual fucking scene where a prey, I think she's a badger or something of that kind, and her daughter are sitting on a train, and the main character's sitting across from them, Judy, who's a prey, she's a rabbit, and sitting next to them is a tiger. Now he's dressed very well. He's wearing slacks and a shirt with short sleeves, collared shirt. He's just sitting there. He's reading.
A predator.
Yeah, he's a predator. He's a tiger, right?
Yeah.
But he's sitting there reading on a tablet. But the mother looks over, puts her arm around the kid, and pulls her closer. And that kind of speaks volumes for how that reflects in our society. Like, it doesn't matter what you're wearing or how you're acting, there's still going to be that prejudice of what you are, what they view you as. There's a scene, actually, early on, where Judy first shows up as a police officer and walks in, and the guy who runs the front admin desk goes, "Aren't you the cutest little thing?" And she goes, "Only other rabbits can call rabbits cute." Now, we can all fucking pick up on the subtext there.
Yeah.
But, like, there's so many... Almost, I don't want to say that they're in-jokes, but there's so many comments. Just through
There's a lot of layers of that. There's a lot of layers in that quote. I'm immediately thinking about aspects of gender relations, actually.
That's another thing.
That I assume the person who said this to her is a man.
Yeah.
And says, you know, and he's saying, like, oh, you're cute. And the Judy, the rabbit, is being facetious and saying that only rabbits can call each other cute.
Now, here's the thing. It's not played off as a sexualization thing. Because
Right.
the character who said it to her is ambiguously not... It's not mentioned, obviously. Is ambiguously kind of portrayed as being not straight.
Right.
Just by his behavior. And it's never implied that he is gay or metrosexual or whatever. But he's clearly not saying it in a sexualizing tone. He's literally just...
He's not doing it to sexualize it.
Exactly. He's
But
just saying
my
it.
point is that men typically aren't meant to embrace things that are cute,
Cute, yeah.
and that is the gender dynamic.
Yeah.
That rabbits could mean anything. Could mean women, or it could just mean it could be like a gender thing.
Yeah.
Or it could be like a racial thing, which I think is how animal species work in this world.
Yeah, and the thing is they play off of like the attributes that we as people would associate with them. So like, rabbits are expected to be meek, foxes are expected to be cunning and sly and untrustworthy. You know, stuff like that. Honestly, entirely potentially. There's a whole bunch of like.
I don't agree with that assessment. By the way,
there's
just saying.
There's just a whole bunch of comments about who you are
feel
supposed
the
to be.
disapproval.
Yeah, from our.
I'm sensing the public.
Our token yid.
I'm sensing the public relations fiasco.
Oh God! Please don't make me deal with paperwork. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of layers, and I really enjoyed the movie. I recommend anybody who hasn't seen it go see it. If you have seen it, go see it again. Just like honestly, go see it again and then look for those.
Yeah,
it speaks volumes in terms of social commentary.
I probably won't see it until it comes out on video.
Yeah, and like it's not something you need to see in theaters, but it's a really good movie, and I do recommend it, especially if those are the kind of things that you might be interested in kind of relating to and looking at.
Yeah. Speaking of coming out on video, another movie that I'm looking forward to showing people when it comes on video, especially my mom because she loves this kind of movie, is a movie that I saw in theaters recently called Hardcore Henry. It's a movie that
Henry Rollins?
Oh my God, I wish. But it's a movie about.
You lost me.
Spoilers. It's about an android. Have I recaptured you?
Just a little.
So it's about a bionic man who's been rebuilt after some kind of accident.
Is he a Jesus metaphor too?
I'm not sure, but he's probably a reference to Steve Austin. Yeah, the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Steve Austin, not the other one.
Not that one. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting that the movie completely blew away my expectations. I expected it to be okay because, I mean, first of all, I love found footage films like Cloverfield and the Blair Witch Project, etc. But
Chronicle.
Yeah, Chronicle. But I can understand people's aversion to those films because you know people get motion sickness, that kind of thing, and there are bad found footage films out there that do that to me, and I really can't stand it when that happens because I want the genre to be given a good chance to survive and thrive, but if you're worried about like there being a consistency in found footage films, there really isn't one. This isn't a found footage film, but it is from the first person perspective, and there are lots of stunts, there are lots of jumps, but the film is for anybody out there who like has real good memories about the first few modern
first-person shooters.
Yeah, like 5th generation, 4th generation first-person shooter games, like Mirror's Edge and Call of Duty: Modern Warfare, and even the original Call of Duty films. I would say.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the scenes that were taking place in this movie reminded me of a mashup of Call of Duty, specifically Advanced Warfare because of the tech that's going on and like stuff like that, and Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But I think what's quite funny about, quite good about the movie is that there are lots of really cool moments that are not cool because, you know, they slowed down the camera and now everything's all crazy. But the movie is a movie. There is a soundtrack. There's a maintained perspective. There's jokes. There's a scene where Henry ends up in a field after being dropped from a helicopter, and he finds this horse. He climbs on top of it, and just as the music, like from an old western, is about to swell up, he falls off, and it's so funny, you know. And there's a real sense of like awareness and very much like that video game camp.
Yeah.
If you liked. What the movie actually does remind me of also in other areas and certain scenes and some things and the way some things are shot was the action sequence during Children of Men. The sequence where Clive Owen and the pregnant lady are running through that city that's engaged in like out and out like gun combat. Yeah. Where the camera's following them, because there are scenes where Henry would be in a bus, and he looks outside and he sees like a guy wearing what looks to be like metal armor, and he's carrying a flamethrower, and you're like, what the hell? And then, but before, and you have just enough time to react when the perspective stabilizes and like you sort of see closer like what it is. Enough time to find out what you're looking at before something else happens, like an explosion, gunfire, that kind of thing.
So it kind of shows you the world as well as like what's happening to the character.
Yeah, and it has its own sense of cinematography. It reminds me of Cloverfield in that sort of sense, where you would see men in hazmat suits or people becoming sick because of the radiation and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It really was like played smart, and there were lots of really cool ideas in the movie. I really hope the movie earns its money back, because the actors involved, especially the character Jimmy, who I'm going to give away a little bit of the movie. If you want to skip this, just skip ahead and by a minute. But there's a character named Jimmy who played who was in District 9 and in Elysium and Chappie, who basically is a scientist who makes clones of himself. Yeah, and they're all themed.
What?
There's a punk Jimmy, there's a sniper Jimmy, there's a colonel Jimmy, and then there's a nerd Jimmy. And then there's like scientist Jimmy, who's actually
like the original.
Yeah, and he controls them all with his computer VR headset that he like has around his head when he's walking around, when he's like in his wheelchair because he's paralyzed. But yeah, fucking incredible sequences where like all the Jimmys do like their own individual parts. Huh. Like there's a scene where the sniper Jimmy and Henry are sniping from the top of this hotel, and then Sniper Jimmy's like, well, the punk's gonna take over, I'm not needed anymore, and he just jumps off the top of this building, and you never see him again, and the rest of the movie is basically, and then like that, from that sequence forward, Hardcore Henry teams up with different Jimmys and tries to escape to find his wife. And there are lots of twists, and not everything is explained, and I love it. It was a great movie. It was an original kind of fun movie, and I would highly recommend that as well. If you like first person perspective films, whatever that means to you, action films, stunt movies, foreign action movies too, because there are lots of really big references to like Russian and East Asian cinema, I would totally go for it.
Nice.
Rated R. So yeah, caveats.
And I haven't seen anything interesting. Moving on.
You've not been watching any shows?
I've been reading a lot.
Oh, what have you been reading?
I just finished God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater.
Oh yeah,
I have fucking no clue what that is.
About 30 years late, something like that.
Yeah, I started reading it a long time ago. I listened to Joe and never finished.
Is that the one Kurt Vonnegut novel you've not finished that you hadn't read?
No, there's a lot of Kurt Vonnegut I haven't read. I haven't read Timequake. I haven't read Bluebeard. I haven't read Monday Night. I haven't read Sirens of Titan. There's a shit ton of it I haven't read.
Because he wrote a lot.
Yeah, he was a very prolific writer. And it's also someone that you can just pick up in bulk and just go through all of it really quickly.
Yeah. If you like his tone of writing, it doesn't really matter what his books are about.
It's always going to be, know it's Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, reading them you'll get some snark, you'll get some sass, but you'll also get some really heartwarming moments too.
Definitely. That's like I guess the theme of God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater can be summarized in one quote from Elliot Rosewater, who is the main character. He's head of the Rosewater Foundation. He's got a shitload of money behind him. And he's living in the small town of Rosewater, Indiana, where everyone is like sort of depending on him on one thing or another. And there's this lady, Mary Moody, who asks him to baptize her children. He's not a reverend of any kind. She just wants him to do it.
Yeah.
And he's asked by someone about what he's going to say when he does it, and he says, I haven't really thought of anything, but there's sort of one thing I really want to say. Hello, babies. Welcome to Earth. It's hot and wet and round and crowded. It's hot in the winter and cold in it's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. And there's only one rule I know of, babies. That you've got to be kind. Damn it.
Yeah. I really like moments like that. There's like moments like that in Slaughterhouse-Five.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite is probably in Slapstick. No, Cat's Cradle, where they talk about where at the very end, the guy who's like the leader of like this like
Bokonon?
Yeah. Bokonon, like his
admits that everything he says is just bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that it's okay. Basically, that is the message you're supposed to take away from it, as that it's okay that if something that you believe in is wrong, as long as you're willing to accept that everyone's wrong. It's okay to believe to believe you're Jesus, as long as you don't think that you're the only one.
Huh. And I feel like trash because I've never read Vonnegut.
You would love it. You would like it. It's got a lot of attitude.
I'm not surprised. The thing is
he lived for a very long time, and
Yeah.
he lived in my lifetime. And the fact that I didn't know about him until after he died is a bit of a shame. But I would seriously recommend that if you like.
I think my dad gave me Cat's Cradle before he died.
Huh. If you like Douglas Adams, there's a lot of Vonnegut and Douglas Adams, who also died in my lifetime, and who I didn't know about until after he passed away too.
Yeah, same.
So many people passing away.
That happens.
And if you like Douglas Adams, there's a lot of Douglas Adams and therefore Kurt Vonnegut and Jonathan L. Howard.
Definitely. I just remembered, I've been reading lots of him too. I'm rereading the entire Johann Cable series.
I want to buy all of it.
I own all of it. You still have my copy.
Anyway.
Yeah, I do.
Douglas Adams reminded me of a thing. So there's this, not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily call it a conspiracy, but there's sort of like a recurring theme with Pink Floyd and the number 11.
Yeah. I've heard of this. Yeah.
And Douglas Adams, who was a very
Avid Pink Floyd
fan, and even famously played brain damage with them one time.
Yes, during their Division Bell tour, I believe.
Yeah. Anyway, he was born on the 11th of a month and died on the 11th of a month.
Wow. Yeah, the 11 Conspiracy. Look that up. There's a Wikipedia article about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's mostly coincidence. There's also the 9/11. There's a lot of 9/11 conspiracies, but there's a 9/11 numeric meme, which is quite interesting. I can't remember all of the different connections that people have made, but
we get a butchered conspiracy theory. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Fuck.
Now, I feel it's my job as producer here to give one small shout out too. Is while you're looking up butchered conspiracy theories and fact checking the shit out of all of our terrible.
Yeah, we don't do fact checking on the show.
Yeah, don't do
on
fact
the
checking.
show. No,
Like,
no.
just like we'll probably go.
Facts do not matter.
In all honesty, we'll probably like address half of the crap we say next episode.
Yeah,
And
next
be like,
episode
so
where
by
we
the way,
actually
we were fucking wrong.
But
But
that should be our final segment of every episode with shit we were wrong about last episode.
Oh my god. Oh.
And today on Our Bollocks, that's not what we want to call it. Never mind. But I feel like we should mention that the Wiki Hole is a project we'll be bringing in later on.
Yeah.
That mostly Pete will be hosting.
Yes.
And it'll be our game show. So look forward to that. It'll be in. We'll be doing it purely audio.
Purely audio.
Yeah, purely audio.
Most of the content coming out will be audio. There will be visual content, but all of that will be finalized later on.
Hi.
As soon as we get all of our equipment together and all that, and are comfortable in our sort of scheduling and shooting situations.
Yeah, we want to make sure that you guys have a steady flow of what we're putting out before.
I just passed the halfway mark on all of my exams. Like I have 2 left out of 5. So as soon as those are done, then scheduling and shooting will become a regular thing.
Yeah.
The Paradigm Network. Audio content for a visual world.
Well, Pete, if anybody...
First of all, that's ageist. And I want you to apologize to all of our blind listeners.
How is that ageist?
Ageist.
Ableist.
Okay, thank you.
Ableist.
Sorry.
It's next on
And
the
also,
alphabet.
we can't be ageist to Pete. He's probably like the one who's stuck in the old world.
He's also literally 900 years old.
Yeah.
Literally 900.
Yep. I feel like we should do a disclaimer.
906, actually.
Happy birthday, by the way, recently.
Thank you.
So shout out to our listeners. We actually have a Time Lord in the office. Feel free to send him your fan mail. No nudes.
You say that. You say that.
Maybe nudes.
No nudes, because
No,
I'm going to
no.
be one sifting through those.
You laugh, but that's almost happened to one Pete Moon. Pulling ladies off the bus.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, you were there for that.
I was there, and that was one of the most uncomfortable moments of my life. I didn't feel bad for me or necessarily you because I knew that you could handle it.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for the lady.
Karen, yeah.
Yeah.
I met her again afterwards.
Yeah, you mentioned.
What did you do?
Oh,
I slept at her house.
yeah. Pete was on the bus and someone said, "Hey, do you like Doctor Who?" And of course, as soon as she says,
No. She didn't say, "Do you like Doctor Who?" She says,
"Do
"Hey,
you know who?"
do you know? Yeah, it was. Do you know who David Tennant is?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
God.
Well, I guess we give everyone an idea of what I look like.
No one's a classic wrestling fan, so
Um,
no one's ever come up to me and like, "Hey, do you know who Don the Rock Morocco is?" It's like, yeah, I know. But no one's ever asked me, "Do you know who Don the Rock Morocco is?" So, yeah, if you see me on the street,
Don't talk to him.
don't talk to me. but if you do have something to say, just yell Don Morocco, and then just that's it.
Unless you're at a show.
I don't know.
They're not going to bring him out.
I always thought that Fianna would make a great James Rolfe. What?
There's a reference here I'm not getting, and I feel like
The
I
angry
should be
video game.
The angry
nerd.
Oh,
video game
God
nerd.
damn it.
Yeah.
No, totally, right?
Totally.
Oh my God, this shit's ass.
I didn't even.
Oh, you.
Man.
I must have said it before.
Nope.
Oh my God.
This is
Why?
entirely new.
To be fair, you are less of a nerd than the angry video game nerd.
Yes, and I can... Never mind. I'm not...
I don't know. I thought it was fun.
This hurts me. In ways I cannot describe.
I'm
not that angry, unless it comes to you two.
Yeah, someone's got to keep us in line.
Yeah.
Fucking...
I'm wondering if it would be like the director over there.
Well, yeah.
I have to keep the fucking director in line. That should speak volumes about our production.
Speaking of.
Okay, so what do you do with me?
Mostly drugs.
The people didn't need to know that, but okay.
Admitting drug use on the
show
pi-
one.
on the pilot.
On show what? Well, I mean, if we're describing
fucking one.
if we're describing our personalities,
Well,
Peter's-
I was gonna say like as far as inner workings of the Paradigm Network are concerned.
well, I don't
Yeah, we are a startup technically.
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about what tech startups need to get going.
Also, if you're listening to this in 2017, marijuana's not quite legal yet. So
Contacts. I think we already mentioned that though.
yeah, fair enough. If
But,
you've forgotten, let's see. Speaking of
I'll be back momentarily.
costumes,
Speaking of costumes.
yeah, we were talking about James Rolfe.
Oh.
Oh God.
Speaking of costumes, it is currently April. It is April something. 22nd.
Do you want to just properly date the program? It's April 22nd of 2016.
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord. I'm kidding. He's none of our lords.
No, I'm trying to remember the name of the year it is in Juche.
Oh, in the Jewish calendar?
No, Juche. Juche.
Jucha.
Yeah, No, Juche. The North Korean calendar. I think it's like 101.
Jewish calendar. I'll take a look right now. Oh, it's the North Korean calendar?
Yeah.
Jewish year, Gregorian years 1912. So
It's 105. Year of our great leader, 105.
yeah. So we are in the Jewish year 105. Now, how many? Because if we're talking about like calendars, and somebody's watch going off.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Oh my god.
Yeah, that would be a terrible first episode.
That would be a terrible
Where's the here we go. Here's the Hebrew calendar.
It's the year.
Hang on. Okay, Pete, you're better at this than I am. What year is it in the Jewish calendar?
5,577.
77. Okay, we'll go with that. We were dating the program, and then he brought up the North Korean calendar, the Juche.
Yeah.
Juche, I think. Whatever.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, we were talking about costumes, calendars. Anybody else want to make a complete and random?
I did have a point with costumes.
Okay.
I wanted to say, speaking of costumes, i.e. James Rolfe and i.e. David Tennant, Comic-Con and con season is coming up.
Yep, Con Bravo is coming.
I'm hoping to make it out to Con Bravo at least.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping we can do some video content there. If we have some stuff.
And also PAX East is going on right now, so it's which marks really the beginning of
con season. Yeah.
Con season, PAX East.
Toronto Comic Con is
in
either past or
no, it's not past just yet. They just mentioned Christopher Plummer as a guest, or they announced him as a guest.
Yeah, it's coming up in a week or two though. I think. I'm gonna have to double check.
It's fairly soon.
Yeah. No, con season's always pretty fun. I mean, I haven't been to too many.
I've only been to one convention.
Oh.
Really? Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Okay.
What happened?
I think it might have been passed actually.
Scroll down.
2016, March 18th to the 20th.
Wow.
Yeah, so we missed it.
Wow.
We missed it.
Fuck.
Just missed it, huh?
Now there's still the winter one, because there's the fall, the spring, and the winter.
Okay.
The winter one's the more subdued one because nobody wants to go out in fucking Toronto in like -20.
And the summer one is fucking Fan Expo.
Fan
Fan
Expo.
Expo. Fan Expo.
Fan Expo is the one that Christopher Plummer's at.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Billy Piper and Martha.
Because she didn't show up last time.
The girl who played Martha in Doctor Who.
Wait, what's her? She didn't show up to the con.
Martha Jones.
Billy Piper.
Billy was supposed to be was supposed to be there last year. No, Billy's I already mentioned. Who played Martha Jones?
Drawing a blank, I'm sorry.
But also the Master is going to be there too.
Missy. Yeah.
Missy.
And River Song.
Frima Gaiman.
There we go.
Gaiman?
There you go.
Adjuman.
And she's also on Sense8, which is a Netflix show that I've been recommending.
I have heard about Sense8. I have yet to watch it.
Yeah, you've been obsessed with superheroes lately.
Oh my god. Okay, so if we're established, since we're just fucking straight up establishing characters, I have the biggest fictional boner for. I'm not gonna go there, John. But I have a massive thing for superhero fiction.
Yeah.
Like books about. Because the thing
Would
is,
you say it Cape fiction?
I called it Cape fiction, supers. There's all kinds of stuff. Cape fiction is one that specifically rose from one I'm reading right now called Worm, and capes is the term for people with powers. When you are just talking strictly about people with powers and not like whether they're good guys or bad guys or neutral. It's just they're capes. They're not mundanes. And so I really like it because as a written medium, like comics are great, but I find that showing panels does take away a little bit in terms of giving you thought, like the thought processes. And I like
it's a common argument with visual medium that it takes away your internal theater.
Yeah, like I like stuff that allows me to put images in my own head, and that's just because I like how my own brain paints things. But I also find that a lot of the people that are involved in writing this kind of fiction are very creative in how they can use stuff. And I think that's just because like we've used so many of the archetypes that we're used to, where now people are coming up with newer and more interesting stuff to touch on. So superhero fiction is really, really great because it's kind of a challenge to as to how inventive you can be with a sense of a world that we have been exploring since like the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
hey, hang on, Pete, you're the comic book nerd.
Yo,
When is it basically stated that the golden age of comics started?
Golden Age.
Because that's when we mostly count forward from.
Yeah, Golden Age is 39 to, I'd say, 53.
So we've been working on this for 70 years now, ish, right? We have pretty much done every fucking superhero. I mean, we've got guys from like Supes, obviously. We've got the Spirit, which is a personal favorite of Pete's.
Love him.
Probably get you to talk about that at some
I
point.
would write the Spirit for nickels.
You would write the Spirit for nothing, let's be honest.
I would write the Spirit for peanuts. If I think Dynamite owns them now. If you're listening, Dynamite,
On the off fucking chance that
on the
somebody shows
off
us to Dynamite.
on the off chance that someone from the offices of Dynamite Comics is listening to this here podcast from a bunch of nobodies,
I would love it
I
if
would write the Spirit.
the Spirit is the kind of property which should be probably it's so hard because the Spirit his lasting quality is that he's basically a noir detective with a mask.
He was supposed to be.
Hilariously, I showed you that picture of John Law, right?
Yeah,
So
the concept of
hold on just a second. I want to paint Fianna a picture of John Law. So imagine the Spirit, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now remove the mask,
Yes.
give him a pipe,
Yes.
and an eye patch. This is a character that ran side by side with the Spirit.
we're
Isn't
gonna,
that just Nick Fury?
No, he's John Law, and he's the Spirit with an eye patch and a pipe. That's what he is.
the
He's a
thumbnail.
detective, though. That's what he
The
is.
thumbnail of this episode will be John Law and the Spirit side by
By
side. So you'll be able to take a look at that.
Is that going to be the episode name? Is John Law is just the Spirit with an eye patch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like the Spirit is a good character, but like that he's what, Silver Age ish, or is he still?
No, he's Golden Age.
He's Golden Age still. Yeah.
He's
So
Golden
like
Age.
40
He's someone, yeah, he's
Like 45?
45,
to
okay. Anyways,
I don't know.
but like here's the thing: we've spent
I've-
70 years exploring superheroes. We have done everything
Can you
from
stop slapping that
I'm
thing?
sorry. We've done everything from Superman to the Spirit, Spider-Man, which is a really good allegory for Yeah, we know you have the biggest boner for Spider-Man, who is an allegory, whereas Superman was just like the most American thing they could make at the time.
Who was, Moses.
Moses, pretty much. And so like we've done almost every character combination we can do. Like,
And we've
backstory.
taken all of we've taken the establishment and we've inverted it, we've flipped it upside down.
we've
We
retconned it.
We've retconned it. We've flipped it over again. We've looked at superheroes from literally every angle: cynical, optimistic.
Like, Watchmen is one of the best examples of the cynical angle because it's like implied that it doesn't matter how good of a hero you are, there's still a chance that you're going to be an absolute fucking monster.
And I think Bob Chapman put it the best, was that Watchmen not only broke the mold, but broke the mechanism by which the mold was made to begin with.
Right.
So,
The history of superheroes is really the history of philosophy.
I'd like to, not to cut us all off and to change the subject, but I would actually like to save superheroes for a separate episode where
Okay.
we can really delve into it because it is something that's kind of close to heart.
Yeah, and Civil War is just about to come out too, so I'll be
Back
able
to movies.
I'll be
Yeah.
able to talk about that, and then we can tie it into the history of superheroes as the history of philosophy.
and we can, we can do a thing about, Civil War, and I can talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah,
He can get his nerd rocks off.
the important role that he plays within the comic book narrative of Civil War, which is actually quite important.
Yeah.
I think the thing is people continuously complain about Spidey, and there are some reasons why. I mean, they continuously retcon him so he's back in freaking high school or just a loser with no job, like all this other stuff, because they need him to be down on his Parker luck.
Yes.
But Spider-Man has been a pivotal character in so many different people's storylines that it's really hard to ignore.
They're really trying
What
to
he's
break the
changed.
mold with the Spider-Man now,
Yeah.
especially with what they're having him run around with. Was it all new, all different?
Yeah, this guy actually looks like a kid. Well, this guy actually is a kid. They've been having 20-somethings play Spidey for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And
On film.
Yeah, I'm talking about on film.
Yeah.
John's talking about
the actual comic book.
Yeah.
All new, all different Spider-Man. He's like Iron Man. Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, definitely. When I get to be excited about Spider-Man.
But yeah, Andrew.
It's like vibrant.
Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man. Terrible Peter Parker.
Yes.
Toby was a great Peter Parker. Terrible Spider-Man.
And then the third movie came out and he's just shitting both. Fucking black suit. But and while we're talking about character casting, Robert Downey Jr. has got to be the best pick that they ever could have possibly done for Iron Man because he's such a smart.
That's all he is now.
He's just he does smart.
Save the MSU basically.
Yeah. Should we
MCU?
Pick it?
MCU.
Should we pick it?
Nah.
Pick what?
Pick.
What?
Hashtag save the MCU.
Oh.
No, I say that I'm enjoying the direction that all that's going. So Civil War is going to come out.
I am not at all excited for Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
No,
because he's one of those ones that I'm like.
You have a real
Betrayal.
love of Doctor Strange. You don't necessarily have a hatred of Benedict.
Yeah, I just feel like
they're fucking with your baby.
I feel like he's better than the superhero genre.
Hmm. So him being incorporated directly into the MCU is like a pretty.
It irks
It's pretty
me.
shallow reading. To quote.
It's basically hey, let's get another big name actor attached to this because we do that now. We're the Marvel Cinematic
Well,
Universe.
I mean, it's also just like the characters that they are bringing in,
Right.
right?
They're typecasting, I guess.
They're trying to bring in characters that really have no place in the movies that they're making.
That's true.
Because they're
Doctor
trying to be
Strange is
like,
definitely
look,
one of them."
guys, nerds, we know about other things that we own and we can touch on. And look, we're pandering to people who
I have
really
lots
like
of-
all kinds of comics. And it's like, we don't need these characters.
This is the equivalent of if they made. I like to imagine this is the equivalent of if they pull out the next Batman versus Superman and fucking Constantine shows up.
Mm.
He has no place
Yeah,
in that fight.
You don't need Doctor Strange.
Although
for this
you have
cinematic
no
universe,
idea, you have no
Actually-
idea how fast I would see Batman vs Superman if John Constantine showed up.
yeah,
I want John Constantine to show up, shoot them both in the back, and be like, "You're both
What
a bunch of
happened to the
assholes,"
show?
and then leave. It fucking
God
crashed and
fucking
burned.
canceled.
God damn.
It crashed and burned, dude. It did the same thing that the Dresden Files did, and don't get me fucking started on the Dresden Files because I still miss that show.
Okay.
But it
But
burned.
basically, I think the only reason you can really use Doctor Strange is to introduce another Infinity Stone, and that's
What they're doing.
yeah. I suppose.
So he's a
that's
plot
functional.
device. He's not a character.
Yeah, I don't see there being a Doctor Strange 2. I don't see there being much Doctor Strange in the Marvel Cinematic Universe outside of his own movie.
My hope is that there will be a satisfactory Black Panther film.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they gave us the beginnings of Claw in Avengers
Yeah.
2.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
the weapons.
the dude who got his hand lopped off.
Yeah, they go to
Wakanda.
where the metal is from.
Vibranium.
Vibranium.
The only place that in the world that it can be mined.
From the most advanced civilization or highly advanced.
They basically are a civilization that pretends to be primitive but are like wicked advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that, Eurocentrism.
Which, you know, it's like if the Aztecs were actually hiding spaceships under
It's
the
really
sun.
it's really quite interesting how closely I mean in a chronological sense how close the history of like what's very in comic books follows like what was in philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the beginning is very much like basic establishing what is what, and then
what does it mean to
cynicism.
be good? What does it mean to be evil?
and then
that idea of those issues of Superman versus Superman is punching Hitler in the dick,
yeah.
Which, I mean,
and Captain America punching Hitler in the dick, and Wonder Woman
punching Hitler in the dick.
And
Hitler really got it.
yeah,
Dick.
Submariner punching Hitler in the dick.
Wait, what? Really?
Underwater. Well, Submariner was the first Marvel superhero, like, literally ever. I'm wondering, I think the only reason he hasn't been touched on is because he's owned by Universal, of all people.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could have gotten a decent Submariner, at least a nod.
Yeah,
Maybe in the future, you know.
maybe.
Are we all burned out?
I think so. I think we actually had a long discussion about a whole lot.
You know, how the we started talking about Donald Trump and we ended up in the Submariner.
True,
This is
but
really a potpourri episode. This is generally what we
promise we'll have actual
It's what we-
collected thoughts.
well,
I thought this is kind of the thing we stand for on the Midnight Shift, is just coming up with a potpourri of shit to talk about.
what is the kind of conversation that you have at midnight? It's a little all over the place, a little strange.
No. Well, okay. It's either talking about whatever I've been reading recently.
We're talking about plays.
Talking about, yeah, that's the thing that August Osage Country, good play. Or it's me talking to my friends about the fact that I can't sleep and need to type out 3,000 words.
You see, that wouldn't be a good show.
No. Hi guys, I'm manic as hell. But yeah. But yeah, no. It's midnight conversations are usually a mashup, or I find that sometimes we have one topic and then run.
The
with
first episode, if not exemplary, should be at least charming.
Yeah.
And
And that's what we tried to do.
Have we charmed you yet? I hope we haven't scared you off. You know, but
Hashtag it'll get better.
yeah. Well, that's been us from here at the Midnight Shift. I'm Joe,
I'm Pete.
I'm Fianna.
and we are clocking out.
The Midnight Shift was produced by John Hill. Intro music by US Army Blues Band. End credits music written and performed by Leroy Sevier. Visit rocketmax.bandcamp.com for more. Contact the Paradigm Network on Twitter. Thank you very much.
I pay you, cunts.
Like now?
No, not actually.
I'm going
I'll
on
get to the
strike.
writing, you get to the directing.
I'm going on strike first. No, writer strike, part 2. The writering.
That means I have to go on strike. That means I don't get paid. Peter needs to get paid.
Yeah, he kind of does. I
I'm
mean,
trying to do.
look at him. He looks like David Tennant, but after crawling out of a skip.
So like a
I
writer.
resent that.